talking trash. They're all gonna laugh at you.
The evil is free.
In her soul, she's a vomit of dirt.
Hello.
Cinema de Merde.
Hey, this is Scott from Son of a Merde, and today we're going to talk about the movie Sheena-Queen of the Jungle. This is from 1984. It's directed by John Gillerman, stars Tanya Roberts, Ted Wass, Donovan Scott, Elizabeth of Toro, and France Zabda. Now, there's going to be some adult language in this video cast, so if you're listening at work, you want to put your headphones on, and if you have kids around, we open with this couple driving in a Jeep, their cute little blonde girl in the back. They look at a photograph of this guy covered in tumors, and then all of a sudden they come to this head in the road. They get out and look and, wait a minute, where'd that native come from? Those natives sure are sneaky. They pull the guy out of the ground, and his tumors are all healed, causing Dad to gasp, so the healing earth exists. The next day, Mom and Dad leave little Janet back at the camp while they go to explore this cave where they believe the healing earth emanates from. They have this whole discussion about how you can't make loud noises in caves or it could cause an avalanche. Meanwhile, little Janet, who's unable to keep a straight face with all this hilarious movie making going on, scampers up after them. Mom and Dad are collecting samples in the cave when little Janet calls to them, causing Mom to say her name, then scream her name.
Janet?
Sure enough, the echo causes an avalanche and Mom and Dad are pulverized into a bloody mass of spattered entrails. Not shown. Little Janet tries her best to appear sad, then turns around to find this whole group of natives led by this rather chic woman, their shaman. Her name is, you guessed it, Shaman. She picks up the girl and recounts the prophecy about how when the mountain cries out, their savior will appear, and pronounces the little girl
Queen of the Jungle.
She's happy they found their savior, and little Sheena seems so amused by the whole thing, you'd be forgiven for asking yourself, didn't her parents just die a horrible death back there, like, seconds ago? Then follows a montage of Sheena growing up and being trained in the arts of the jungle. At one point, Shaman puts her hand to her forehead, although she has a splitting Excedrin headache. But she's actually using her psychic animal communication powers. Sheena learns to summon and ride a zebra, which is actually a painted horse, and is soon transformed into Tanya Roberts of Charlie's Angels and A View to a Kill fame. There's a long, continuous credit sequence of Tanya riding her zebra, her tits bouncing for an uninterrupted 90 seconds. So our scene shifts to the city where we meet Atwani, brother of the king, who's planning to assassinate his brother and assume the throne. We also meet this guy who will become our hero, Vic Casey, and his fat schlub sidekick, Flesh. Meanwhile, Shaman is preparing for a trip to the city, which is the devil's playground or some such. She has to go warn the current king because she had a vision that he's in trouble. Tanya is trying to convey that she's of non-westernized origin, which she attempts by making all her line readings as childlike and earnest as possible.
My heart goes with you, and my fear.
Now, Shaman's wandered in the city and sat down on the curb, which attracts the attention of the local police force. She'd hauled off down the street and thrown in the clink. Cut to Queen Zonda, who's in on the assassination with Adwani. She brings out this Zambuli bow that she obviously procured at the Zambuli Days Arts and Craft Fair.
A Zambuli bow.
She's going to use it to frame Shaman for the assassination. I got more than a few hefty chortles, which are becoming at regular intervals, at the idea of the sweet, innocent Shaman being thrown in the slammer and framed for murder. By the way, don't miss Zonda's declaration that
I am the most wicked woman in Antigora.
So Shaman sends Sheena a psychic text message saying she's in trouble, and Sheena leaps into action. Unfortunately, the assassination has already been set in motion. You see, there's this crossbow rigged in a tree off to the side that's going to automatically kill the king. It's an assassination-o-matic. The king's giving a heartfelt speech when the crossbow fires and he gets an arrow straight in the heart. Within a few seconds, they drag Shaman out, seemingly from the other direction where the arrow came from, and pin the whole thing on her. What would CSI Zambuli have to say about this? So after the assassination, Vic and Fletch get in their Jeep and are on their way to interview Shaman in prison. So they're out of the prison when suddenly the trees part and, to the accompaniment of the soaring Sheena theme, she rides in on her zebra, accompanied by her monkey minions. Anyway, the monkeys defeat the inept guards and the elephant breaks down the walls of the prison and Sheena rescues Shaman, who's all weak and exhausted despite the fact that all she's been doing is sitting around this prison cell. But then Sheena's called away to hear a bunch of dying woman claptrap from Shaman before she finally passes on. I was all like, okay, bye Shaman, as we were hearing her inspiring final words, and I guess I'm not the only one ready to see her shuffle off to the great beyond as the elephant is digging a grave for her in plain view before she's even dead. So the military are coming and Sheena exhorts Vic to follow her up a tree. This involves Vic and us looking directly up Ms. Roberts' snatch, covered in the tiniest string thong for an unnervingly long moment. Sheena says that she doesn't understand Vic, so he plants a big wet one right on her lips, and at this point you turn to your friend you're watching the movie with and you say, "Do you understand that?" Then on screen, Vic turns to Sheena and says, "Do you understand that?" "Yes, it's that kind of movie!" Sheena says, "No, mouths are for eating. Why did you press your lips to mine?" Around this time, you'll notice that Vic's shirt is now permanently open, and he's required to blurt out such lines as,
Your hair smells fantastic.
Sheena soon lets us know that this is a movie with a message.
Guns are bad.
Then it's poor Vic's turn at the bad dialogue trough with,
You make me want to cry.
a few seconds later, we're staring up Sheena's snatch again.
Stop them.
She finally gets into this whole pressing mouths together thing, and they have this huge, passionate kiss amongst the flamingos, while the strings soar and we're supposed to be carried away by the beauty and wonderment of nature. So Sheena's going to take Vic back to meet the Grand Poobah of the Zambulis or whatever, saying, his locust bean cakes will be your locust bean cakes. But the bad guys are there already, and they burn the village of the peaceful Zambuli peoples. Sheena's all traumatized, but you'll notice that there's no bodies laying around afterwards, just a bunch of smoldering pottery. It was the Zambuli Pottery Massacre. So it's clear that Atwani is all into Sheena, which Xanda does not like one bit. She takes Sheena up in the helicopter and is going to dump her in the big Zambuli waterfall in front of all her people. So in the chopper, Sheena pretends to have a terrible headache, but is actually calling her animal pals. I'm glad someone acknowledged the whole headache thing, though. She summoned her flamingo friends who fly into the helicopter and mess with the controls. I was bummed we didn't get to see at least one of them get pureed by the whirling blades. Anyway, soon enough, Xanda is seemingly leaping straight over Sheena's lap into the yawning abyss. Then there's this final chase with Sheena on her horse painted like a zebra and Atwani and Vic in two separate jeeps, but it's shot and edited so poorly you really can't tell what's going on. Sheena falls off her trusty steed right in front of Atwani's jeep, and it looks like curtains for her, but then Vic comes in out of nowhere and smashes into Atwani's jeep, causing an explosion and sending his flaming body flying. Atwani's dead, but now Vic's got third-degree burns all over 67% of his body. Golly, I sure hope there's some healing earth around here somewhere. At the end, Vic realizes that he and Sheena can never really be together, and he dumps her and heads back to New York. You see, that's just how men are. This movie was astonishing. This was an adventure in movies. You need Sheena. Once more, this is Scott from Cinema de Merde, where you find lots of other bad movies and good movies and reviews and podcasts and videocasts and links and essays and all sorts of stuff like that. Go there now. It's CINEMADEMERDE.com. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Look for some other video casts of mine. I hope you had a good time, and bye!